I'm Chris Loder. I'm the Conservative MP for West Dorset. I'm an eco-Tory because I believe that we all have to take responsibility for the environment and the climate. It isn't somebody else's, and that is a fundamentally conservative principle, that we have self-responsibility for what we do and for how we do it and how we work with our communities to achieve things. So I believe that we will really make progress with environmental initiatives such as some of the ones that I've progressed by taking responsibility for ourselves and the work that we do. For me, very specifically, I have a priority of getting rid of plastics, single-use plastics particularly. When I was young, we'd go to the supermarket, and we had a big delicatessen counter, and you get your meats or cheeses and so on, and generally they'll be wrapped in a small, maybe grease-proof paper bag. But now, if you go into a supermarket, basically what they sell is plastic with food inside. We have such a massive issue with single-use plastics in this country that we end up shipping abroad so much of it. That is wrong in my opinion, and I think we need to get that under control. The reason it's not under control is because those that generate the plastic and manufacture it, they're not responsible or accountable in any way at the moment for its disposal. So they can make it and not worry about what happens to it. So the Environment Bill is a really important catalyst to start fixing that, and I spoke about that in the House of Commons the other day. That is undoubtedly my first priority. But we also, in rural West Dorset, you wouldn't think it being such a rural constituency, but we have more than our fair share of pollution. And there's a village between Bridport and Lyme Regis on the A35, which is in the southwest of my constituency, which actually has the worst record for nitrogen dioxide in the entire country, from the A35 pollution and fumes and so on. And that is a real fundamental problem, and I think we do need to grasp that issue much more than we are at the moment, and I'm pleased that the Environment Bill will also make progress in doing that. There is a small company just outside of Dorchester in a village called Frampton, which is called Hub, H-U-U-B, and they specialise in eco-friendly energy, whether that be solar panels or whether that be ground-based heat pumps. They're really innovative small business, which I'm quite certain is going to grow considerably in the coming years. I was fortunate to go and visit them a few months ago with the Chief Executive of Dorset Council, and we were able to see firsthand some of the work they do, and I can't recommend them enough for what they're doing. And many, isn't there, to choose from. I think I would want to stop single-use plastic straight away. And it's not just for the purpose that maybe you see fit. It's not just to be able to stop single-use plastics. It's because I believe that single-use plastics have such an impact in the wider economy that I think it will fundamentally change how food is produced. It will by default reduce food miles. That will by default reduce the carbon footprint, because of course food won't necessarily be able to travel for so long or so far, so it will force us to think more locally about the food we produce, and of course it will totally remove this scourge that we have of single-use plastics at the moment. If I were able to have a second policy, it would be food labelling. I think it's very important that we actually understand the food that we eat or the food that we buy, because sometimes if we listen to the press, we can think actually it's really healthy or really good for us to say, I don't know, go vegan, or to maybe just have certain foods. On the face of it, that might be fine, but the reality is if those foods are being imported from the other side of the world, there is a massive carbon footprint associated to those foods. And we don't really understand those thoroughly. And so sometimes we can jump to those conclusions a little bit too quickly for my liking. So I think food labelling would be my close second. I mean, I really would like to get our environment bill done. I think that's going to happen. We're expecting a new parliamentary session in May, so there'll be a Queen's speech we expect in May. So that has a slight delay in the middle of the year. But in the House of Commons, it was very clear the Minister wants to progress that bill as soon as possible. I want that in and done. I mean, it's got some really exciting things in it, and I think we'll see some big changes. I think leaving the European Union, I know not everybody quite agrees or quite sees it the same way, but I believe that leaving the European Union offers us a whole host of opportunities when it comes to the environment, when it comes to climate, when it comes to animal welfare, because we are able to make our own decisions about some of the things that we might not have been previously able to do, and that's one of the many benefits of leaving the EU, because we will be able to do that. Rural West Dorset is probably the geographical western third of the county. It's the most rural part. There are a lot of farms, a large agriculture industry there. I think we've got a real opportunity to showcase what we do already, and I know quite a few people will think that actually we have to do a lot of work to improve whatever aspect we look at in terms of environment and climate. But we didn't ought to forget that there are some things that we do really, really well already. And I think one of the things that we will be able to do is to showcase around the world some of the things that we do brilliantly. There's a big discussion going on at the moment about farming and the carbon footprint, particularly of livestock. I feel very strongly that actually how we take care of our animals here in the UK is extremely good. And if you were to compare the carbon footprint of how we take care of our livestock here compared to how that happens across the world, it's very clear that we have a lot to offer the rest of the world, and that will have a more meaningful effect to reducing the carbon footprint. So I think some of the farming methods of which we have will be a wonderful thing to share. We of course are very fortunate in that we have the Jurassic Coast, or part of the Jurassic Coast in my constituency, that runs from Lyme Regis all the way down to Chesil Beach, which is almost to Weymouth. You know, we have wonderful spots there to take in the fresh sea air and to walk. And you know, the rolling green hills of West Dorset are equally wonderful to enjoy for walking. And this is one of the things that I think the pandemic has actually it's changed our view on. I think we've all sort of recognised that walking is very good for us, or maybe even running if you're you know, slightly slimmer and more energetic than me. You know, because it's good. It's good to get the air. It's good to see the natural environment, and I think it's encouraged us to value those things that we haven't maybe recognised, or should I say we've taken for granted maybe for too long. Well, I'm blessed in West Dorset because I have so many of them. The Jurassic coastline is absolutely wonderful. It's very refreshing. It's very stimulating as well. There are probably 2 or 3 for me. There's the Jurassic Coast. There is undoubtedly Backham Down, which is the top of a very steep hill, which you can see over miles of the constituency in both sides of it. And I think the Golden Cap, which is again down towards the coast in the southwest of the constituency, it's such a stunning part of the world that, if you were to go to visit, I'm quite certain that you would want to go back, or you probably not want to leave.